Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be gushing over Jade City by Fonda Lee for as long as I can. I was initially planning to do this review a week from now, but I couldn't wait to get my thoughts out for this. I really love what Fonda Lee did with this story, so I'm gonna talk to you guys about this for a little while now. Jade City follows this region where there's a special rock called jade that enhances people's abilities and makes them faster, stronger, more intelligent. And this is basically about these two warring clans and their entire conflict throughout the story. Now, I absolutely love the plot of this. I was so invested right from the get-go. There were so many twists and turns throughout the book that I was like genuinely shocked. If you could take a look at my notes, I would write out like, holy crap, what's going on? Like, what is happening right now? And it was just crazy all around. I was really just on the edge of my seat. I was shocked at so many points. I had no idea what was gonna happen next, and really Fonda Lee just kept me guessing the entire story. Since there are these two rival clans, there's a lot of politics between them and also politics with the outside world, where this is a fairly new region. They were fairly hidden for a really long time. So this region is really mysterious and new to the rest of the world. And it was really interesting to see the world relations between the region and the outside world, and within the region between the clans themselves. This story does have a lot of politics, but I gotta say that it was really easy to understand. Fonda Lee kept it really straightforward and simple. I wasn't lost at any point. I wasn't confused. With a lot of stories like Game of Thrones, for example, that has a lot of politics and a lot of moving parts, sometimes it's hard to keep up and understand all the relations and understand who's warring with who and who's allies with who. But since the scope of the story is a little bit smaller, I feel like it was really easy to keep up with throughout the novel, and that just made it a lot easier to get into the story and made it a lot more enjoyable. Now, Fonda Lee did an amazing job of realizing this world. Personally, I'm not somebody who can picture every little scene. For example, when describing a city and they describe the textures of the walls and they describe the colors of everything and how there's bigger towers and round pillars and things like that, I suck at envisioning those things. And so what really immerses me in a world are the descriptions of their cultures, of their ideologies, how the people are like. I really like getting a feel for a culture, for their customs, everything that they do, and that Fonda Lee did an amazing job at. We get so many little examples throughout of habits that these people have formed, of their little customs and their ideologies. For example, at one point we're told that whenever there's a contest between two people, it's custom for the winner of the bout to win graciously and offer up self-deprecating comments, or even saying something like, oh, the wind was in my favor, or you could have beaten me if this was any other day. And I feel like those things are what really bring a culture to life, and Fonda Lee did an amazing job of just sprinkling in here and there so many of these little nuggets that really made these people unique. I feel like I really got a great understanding for who these people are, what kind of things that they believe, what they do, and that really just brings the entire story to life for me. Where I can't picture specific scenery or landscapes, this story did a great job for me in making me realize the world and envision it in a way that I had never done before. Now let's talk about the jade. So the jade is this rock that can be mined. It's this green gem that enhances people's abilities, but there are only a specific kind of person that can wield it without having severe side effects or losing their minds over it. Because that's what's really interesting about this, is that it not only gives you abilities, it also has a lot of side effects. It's like a drug in a way, where it makes you feel great, it really enhances you, but there are so many setbacks that it can become really dangerous for the user. And I loved how this is a double-edged sword, how people can't just be using this willy-nilly, or anybody can use it, you know? There are people who are immune to it as well, and there are people who are more susceptible to the side effects of this. And so that gave a really interesting dynamic to Jade and made it just a little bit more complex than this stone that anybody can wear and just gives you immediate power without any consequence. Because while this does enhance your abilities and liberate you from your normal capabilities, it also chains you up and drives you insane from the side effects that it has. And because of all these side effects and the double-edged sword that it is, it created a lot of very interesting situations within the story and conflicts within characters who become power hungry and seek a lot of this jade to enhance their power power, but also characters who are fearful of its effects and show a lot of restraint and really struggle with them having to wear the jade, but also being scared for their lives and scared for the effects that it's gonna have on them and the people around them. And then we come to the characters. I really love the character work that Fonda Lee did within this story. In the first half of the novel especially, there was a lot of focus on characters and their motivations and their inner conflicts and inner turmoil. None of her characters were one-dimensional or just archetypes that you see in everyday stories. There was one or two that initially seemed to just have one side to them, but as we progressed through the story, we really got to see many sides of all of the characters, and I love to see that because I love seeing the motivations and the reasons why characters do what they do, the reasons why they are the way that they are. And Fonda Lee did an amazing job of delving into certain characters at certain parts of the story and really showing us what makes them tick. Because of this, my favorite character throughout the story did change a lot. I think I had like 2 or 3 different favorite characters, and that's just because there's a lot of twists and turns in the story, and the focus shifts from one character to another a lot. And so at some points in the story, we may be really focused on one character, but then in the next 100 pages we're going to really focus on this other one who hasn't been given much attention yet. And I just loved the way that she really got to explore all of these characters and really show us the depth of their humanity and their personalities. One thing I will say though is that at certain points the emotions weren't conveyed as well as I thought they could have been. At times I found myself not really feeling what the characters were feeling, and when emotion is written really well, you can connect with that emotion, you can feel that emotion, you feel what the character is feeling. And at some points this was just lacking for me a little bit, but this was just 1 or 2 times here and there. So for the most part she did do a really great job of portraying these characters, but there were a point or two throughout the story where I feel like I could have connected a little bit better. And at times there were some character decisions that I feel didn't really fit the character, or I didn't understand or really believe the reasoning behind the decisions that they made. In particular, I'm thinking about one part in the story that I was just dumbfounded. I really thought it was out of character for them to do that, but I can't really get into that without spoiling it, and I know this is a really popular book, so I'm not going to say anything right now. But I did feel like maybe it was just done for convenience because they had to get a character to a certain point and that was the only way to do it. I can't really think of a better way to have done it, but I just think that it did feel really convenient and a little bit unearned. Now let's talk about this ending, because this book had one hell of an ending. I honestly had no idea where the story was going when I got to the climax of it, when I got to the very end. And this isn't a bad thing. The story was just subverting my expectations at every turn, and I had no idea what would happen next because Fonda Lee did such a great job of keeping me guessing and keeping me on the edge of my seat for the entire story. There is a really big fight scene at the end and a couple more scattered throughout the book, and I feel like she did these really well. I think I heard somewhere that Fonda Lee is actually a black belt. I feel like that really comes through. You can really tell that she has a knowledge of fighting because the fights were written so well. I felt like I was there. I felt like I was experiencing the actual fight. It was just exhilarating, and she wrote these fights in a way that really kept me guessing and kept me on the edge of my seat like I was watching an actual fight. Now, I absolutely love the ending, but there was about a page or two that I didn't really enjoy that I feel like could have been done better, and that was in the aftermath of the climax. Instead of showing us everything that happens after as a result, instead of showing the aftermath of the build-up and everything that happened in the climax, we had this character tell another character, but really telling us everything that happened as a result. Now, personally, I would have loved to be shown everything that happened. Maybe take out a chapter, maybe extend the book another 10-15 pages and just show the aftermath rather than have one character spelling everything out for us and saying what happened instead of showing. And because of that, that one part did feel a little bit rushed. It felt a little bit glossed over, and I would have really liked just a little bit more time dedicated to the aftermath and the consequences of the big climax. But by the end of the book, everything was wrapped up so well. All the characters had gone through some change throughout the book, and I loved to see that, especially in the final couple of chapters Fonda Lee really showed us how the characters have changed, how their mindsets have changed. And along with that, she left so many questions unanswered. She left one big cliffhanger that I honestly can't wait to read Jade War, the next book in this trilogy, because she left so many things up in the air. And though this book did come to a nice conclusion, there's an obvious step forward to the next story, and I'm just so excited about it. She did a great job of setting everything up while still wrapping up this story. She did a great job of setting up the next novel, and I just can't wait to see what else she brings in that book. And those are my thoughts on Jade City by Fonda Lee. Thank you guys for listening to me today. Let me know what you guys think. Did you hate the book? Did you love it? Did you agree with everything that I said? Just let me know in the comments below. I would really love to hear all your opinions and have a discussion with you guys. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe down below as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys.